We have entered a very dangerous time for America, and today I want to bring your attention to someone who I believe is the most dangerous person in America today. And his name is David Hogg, and he's an 18-year-old apparent survivor of the Parkland school shooting, and he has been turned into the frontman for the, quote, Hitler Youth fascist anti-gun movement of students invading Washington, D.C. like the Hitler Youth. David Hogg is a malicious, dangerous, angry person. He has videos that are filled with foul-mouthed attacks and profanity like you can't believe. He goes out there and he says that gun owners literally want to kill children. He sees no legitimate use for guns whatsoever, not on a farm or a ranch or for self-defense or for an old lady to stop a home invader or for a young woman on college campus to stop a rapist. Nothing. He's so blinded by his own anger and rage that he can't see any legitimate use for a gun. And you know who else in history was blinded by rage and anger? Adolf Hitler. And you know who else in history wanted to take away the guns and commit mass genocide and murder? Adolf Hitler. Before Adolf Hitler could commit the Holocaust and murder 6 million Jews, he had to first disarm them. And when I see David Hogg on the national stage at the fascist, quote, Hitler Youth gun control march, giving his Black Power salute, it's 95% of the Heil Hitler salute. It's almost there. If he just opens his fingers, it's a Heil Hitler salute. It looks like the Nazi Third Reich is coming back through the gun control movement. When I listened to his speech, he was reading, obviously scripted lines. He sounds like a politician running for office, and I'm sure, I have no doubt, that's the future they have in mind for this deranged, twisted, angry young man who has no idea that he is being used as a, quote, useful idiot by the gun control left. He has no idea that he's a puppet. He has no idea that he has no real value to society other than what they can wring out of him during this exploitation. He has no idea that they will discard him as soon as they're done with him. He thinks he's brilliant. He thinks he matters. He thinks he's powerful. He's just a useful idiot to the left. They tell him what lines to say. They write the scripts for him. He's a performer. In other words, he's a performance artist, frontman for the gun control movement. Now, getting back to what he has in common with Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich and the Hitler Youth movement, keep in mind that David Hogg's sister and David Hogg promoted armbands, gun control armbands. And they actually took photos of themselves wearing these armbands that look just like the Hitler Nazi armbands. And they tweeted that out and said that everybody should start wearing armbands to school with a peace symbol on them. Well, guess what? The Nazi swastika started out as a peace symbol too. If you go back through history before the Nazi regime, the swastika was actually recognized as a symbol of peace. And so today, by the Hogg brother and sister tweeting out themselves wearing an armband with a peace symbol, it is almost exactly like Adolf Hitler demanding gun control and wearing an armband with a peace symbol that later became known as the evil symbol of the swastika. And David Hogg's rhetoric is almost exactly like Adolf Hitler, that you have to take away guns to save the children. It's for the good of society, that it's okay to overrun the rights of individuals, to take away their liberties, to strip away their civil rights, as long as it's for the good of society. That was Adolf Hitler's logic. In fact, Adolf Hitler said you have to murder Jews, in his own words, however he said it, in order for what he thought would be a better society. It was eugenics and murder and gun control all rolled into one. And as I see this young, confused, angry, deluded, twisted man, David Hogg, rising up and becoming so malicious and so dangerous, his rhetoric echoes the anger of Joseph Goebbels, of course, who was Adolf Hitler's chief propagandist. In fact, David Hogg looks like Joseph Goebbels. He actually physically resembles the man. And his speech patterns resemble Adolf Hitler. His anger, his outrage, and his lack of logic resembles Adolf Hitler. You got to remember, David Hogg is out there just screaming and ranting and cursing about everybody and believing that his anger overwrites your constitutional liberties. If he's angry enough, he thinks, then you have no rights. And if he's angry enough, he believes that you should have your guns taken away by government thugs wielding guns to take away your guns. In other words, David Hogg believes in gun confiscation at the end of a gun, which is what Mao Zedong said many decades ago before the Cultural Revolution. You got to understand that these gun control zealots of the left, they all believe in guns. They just believe that the guns should be held by government thugs. What's especially disturbing is how eerily similar David Hogg's rhetoric is to the rise of gun control advocates throughout history who then went on to commit mass genocide. We're talking about mass murder by governments. It's called democide, and in the 20th century, 262 million people were murdered by governments through gun control. Because, of course, governments realized long ago it's so much easier for them to murder people if they take the guns away from the people first. Because, self-defense, people might shoot back. Oh, my God. So Mao and Stalin and many others, Kim Jong-il, throughout history, Pol Pot, it just goes on and on. Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, they use gun control as a prelude to mass murder. And David Hogg seems to have no knowledge whatsoever of history. I don't know if he just got an F in history or if they don't even teach history anymore in schools. But this kid is oblivious to how he is being played up to become the next Joseph Goebbels. He is being given the power to be the propagandist that sets the stage for mass genocide and murder against millions of people in America. Because let's have no doubt about it, the anger of David Hogg is reminiscent of the kind of people who want to murder their political opponents. And he hasn't said it directly, but I have no doubt that he, in his heart, wants to see people eliminated who oppose him. He wants to see gun owners probably shot in the back of the head as they're kneeling over a ditch. And that's what, of course, Hitler did. That's what has happened throughout history. Stalin and Mao and many other examples. This kind of thing is repeated throughout history, and David Hogg is repeating it yet again, and he has no clue how he's being used as a puppet, as a useful idiot to carry these things out. So what we have to do is, of course, we have to resist this tyranny. The left has found a very convenient spokesperson, a so-called victim of the Parkland shooting, who they claim you can't question because he got shot at. Well, that's nonsense. He has entered the public stage. He's entered the debate. He is making demands. He is denouncing and slandering and defaming gun owners and the NRA and members of Congress who protect the Bill of Rights. David Hogg is no longer a private citizen. He is a public figure. And if he's decided to enter this fray and enter this debate and become a public figure, he's going to have to answer for his ideas, which means he's subject to being questioned. He's subject to being asked about his motivations or his qualifications or his background, or who's controlling him, who's feeding him lines, who's writing his scripts, what job offers has he been given to continue his anti-gun propaganda push. It's very clear to me that he's going to be running for office at some point, and the media will be his friend and try to put him in a position of political power. Wouldn't be surprised to start hearing talk about David Hogg for president at some point. Yes, they will go there because, I mean, according to the left today, you don't even have to know anything to have a valuable opinion on gun control. You could be a Hollywood celebrity actor, and they say, oh, you should listen to that person because they're a famous person on TV who used a bunch of guns in a bunch of Hollywood movies, so they're anti-gun, and you should listen to them because they're actors. Well, nonsense. And it's the same nonsense with this David Hogg. He's not even out of high school, not even a high school graduate. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't hire someone who hadn't graduated from high school. I certainly wouldn't listen to their positions on complex issues, such as the Second Amendment or liberty or history, which he appears to have no knowledge of, by the way. He actually went out and recommended armbands, with the tweet and the photo. He took a photograph of himself wearing a Hitler-like armband and telling everybody else to go do that and go to school, show up with armbands. I mean, Jesus, does this kid not have any knowledge whatsoever of what he's doing? He's a useful idiot. He is a pawn of the system, and he is dangerous because they're putting him in positions of authority and power. And he's going to demand, ultimately, I believe, he's going to demand, if he had the power and he had the choice, he would demand that all gun owners be rounded up, shot in the back of the head. That's my opinion of what I believe he believes in his heart. Now, I would challenge him to say that he doesn't believe that, because it's very obvious to me that he does. And this is what leftist anti-gun people always have believed throughout history. This is very consistent with what they believe, and this is why they engage in mass murder in the Cultural Revolution, in Mao's communist takeover, or Fidel Castro's communist takeover. The opposition was rounded up and shot by the government, along with gun control that would disarm the citizens who might threaten the concentration of tyranny and power by the political elite. So Hogg is dangerous. And I'm launching a website called hoggwatch.com. It's not live yet, but H-O-G-G is how you spell his last name. Hoggwatch.com. I want you to check that out when the time comes. We'll launch it soon. We're going to be following this dangerous Joseph Goebbels in training, this fascist in training. We're going to be documenting what he's saying, what he's doing. We're going to be warning you about what he's up to and how he wants to take away your liberties and take away your freedoms and overrun your country and overrun your elected representatives in Washington if they dare vote to protect the Second Amendment. David Hogg has stated in his speech that he wants to start a revolution. And what he didn't say, what's underneath that, is he wants to start a communist revolution. He wants to start a Marxist revolution. He wants to start a Hitler Youth style revolution. In fact, he's already begun that. And he's dangerous. And there will come a day, very likely, that you will be required to defend your nation and defend your liberties. Because people like David Hogg will stop at nothing until you are either silenced, censored, disarmed, or dead. And preferably, he wants all of those outcomes for you and me and others like Alex Jones. We have entered very dangerous times, friends. More than ever, the deranged, lunatic, radical left is trying to destroy America. They're trying to take away our right to self-defense. They're trying to strip away our constitutional liberties. They're trying to disarm us so that they can then overrun us and arrest us and mass execute us. That is exactly what they want. That is exactly what history has shown us these radical left-wing people desire to put into place. And they always have some radical, deranged, angry leader that rises up. Adolf Hitler rose up as a popular person in Germany in the 1930s. Just like David Hogg, the media promoted him. Adolf Hitler was popular, you got to realize that, just like David Hogg to the left. And the similarity of his style and his fist pounding and his salute and his demands, so much like Adolf Hitler that you could practically overlay Adolf Hitler's speeches onto David Hogg's visual presentation, and it would fit perfectly. If you understood German, I suppose. Is Hogg German? What is that last name? Is he actually German? That's a good question. I'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll cover that at hoggwatch.com. In any case, be safe, everybody, but be prepared. They're coming for us all. They want to murder us. They want to take away our guns and murder all conservatives and silence all people who believe in America or who are Trump supporters or who believe in the Second Amendment. It is here. The war is about to begin. The Civil War is almost on. I'll be covering it at civilwar.news until they seize that domain, I suppose. And I'm launching a new video free speech website called real.video, which I strongly encourage you to visit. You can sign up now to request a channel. It's going to be launching this summer. July 4th is the current targeted launch date. And we welcome channels that dare talk about David Hogg and the anti-gun, radical, left-wing, fascist / communist / authoritarian movement. So check all that out. My name's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. My main website is naturalnews.com. Thank you for listening. God bless America. God bless you. May you stay safe. Take care.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.